you so much for that very, very warm welcome, and thank you all. It is really great to be here with you. Happy early Monday morning. It was such a busy weekend in Washington. Saturday was so beautiful. Hopefully you came on Saturday and not yesterday. Just a great reminder that spring's on its way, and I hope you've really had the time to enjoy all that Washington has to offer. It's a fun time to be here. In my role, I've had the chance to travel across the country visiting our division offices. We have one in every state, seeing hurricane damage firsthand, and also visiting some of the country's big projects. I've also had the opportunity to participate in ACEC conferences at the state level. And when I went to the Roads and Streets Conference in Arizona, I got to meet Janice Burnett, who is retiring this year after 41 years with Arizona ACEC. And I know that she's seen and done a lot in Arizona and really accomplished a lot in advancing this industry. So if you see her around, I hope that you'll take the time to congratulate her and to wish her well in her retirement. 41 years is really, really amazing and something to be proud of. So a big hello also to the Indiana chapter. I know that Beth Bauer's here. I got a great welcome from the team when I arrived. It's always really great to see familiar faces, and Beth and I worked together for many years in Indiana, and I know that she brought an A-team full of Hoosiers along with her. Before I moved to Washington, I had just the amazing honor of running the Indiana DOT, and working for the people of Indiana for so many years was quite an honor and a great privilege. And now having the opportunity to lead an organization of true professionals at the national level is really a dream come true for me. It's my belief, not only my belief, but my real life experience, that the best projects, the best results are those that are accomplished through collaboration and partnership. Partnership with state DOTs, federal highway, and also with the industry. What an amazing time it is for us to be in transportation. How lucky are we that we get to be here at a time when so much transformative technology is on the horizon? How lucky are we that we get to be here at a time when transportation is a part of the national dialogue? It is great for me to be part of an administration that is truly committed to revitalizing our country's critical infrastructure. For the next few years at Federal Highway, we will be supporting the US DOT strategic priorities of improving safety, strengthening infrastructure, planning for the future through innovation, and accountability through reducing regulatory and administrative burden. I know that that is music to many of your ears. As you all know, infrastructure was a key part of the President's campaign, and from day one, the department immediately got to work by soliciting ideas for improvements to the project delivery process. In fact, in the first 100 days of the administration, DOT completed extensive outreach to over 100 key industry stakeholders from all modes. I know that many of you had the opportunity to offer suggestions through the various forums that have been held at US DOT and at the White House. I would like to highlight some of the reform efforts at Federal Highway and DOT as a whole that we've been working so hard on. In January of last year, the President issued an executive order on reducing regulation and controlling regulatory costs. That executive order established that whenever a federal agency proposes a new regulation, it must identify at least 2 existing regulations to be repealed. It is sometimes referred to as the 2-for-1 executive order. In response to this executive order, Federal Highway undertook a comprehensive review of our regulations to identify potential deregulatory actions. Within Federal Highway, we refer to this as the lanes exercise, and we solicited ideas from every part of our organization as well as external stakeholders, including industry and state DOTs. Through this exercise, we identified a number of regulations that were ripe for reform. One regulation that was repealed through this exercise is the Mpo Coordination Rule. The estimated annual cost savings of rescinding just this one rule is more than $86 million. Last June, DOT published a Federal Register notice to request input from stakeholders to identify non-statutory requirements that the department imposes that should be removed or revised. And then in October, we followed up with a second Federal Register notice this time soliciting input on existing rules and other agency actions that are good candidates for repeal, replacement, suspension, or modification. What I want you to know, and coming from a state DOT, I would see these Federal Register notices and I'd be like, yeah, whatever. But we take these so seriously. We literally received hundreds of comments in response to these Federal Register notices. We look at each one individually. We pored over all of the results. We have made assignments, and we've developed action plans in areas where we can reduce burdens. We will continue rolling out changes to our policies and regulations, and even work with Congress to propose various changes in laws. We're close to being able to announce more results from this effort and look forward to working with stakeholders like ACEC to implement. It's worth noting that US DOT deregulatory actions last fiscal year saved $312 million, and we're on track to far exceed our goal of $500 million in savings this fiscal year. As I've been out and about meeting with local officials, project sponsors, state DOT CEOs, and bringing my own experience to the table, trust me that no stone is being left unturned in this effort. It has kept us all very busy, but it is awesome to see the progress that is being made and the vision for the FHWA of the future. How do we do it? How do we ensure that our 20th century transportation system is ready to meet the needs of our 21st century nation? There's no arguing that more investment is needed. That is something I'm sure everyone here agrees on. But paying for it remains an ongoing challenge. Plenty of ideas continue to be discussed: bonds, tolls, P3s, taxes. The administration certainly has an open mind. Financially speaking, everything is on the table. We just released a notice of funding opportunity for the next round of the Sts Fa Grant program. That's the Surface Transportation System Funding Alternatives program that provides $20 million for projects that demonstrate user-based alternative revenue mechanisms. I know that several of your clients certainly have put forward projects in the past. Those applications are due July 15th, and I know that you'll hear more about funding challenges and opportunity from your next speakers, certainly an all-star panel that you have on your agenda. The infrastructure debate has only just begun. It's a big challenge, and it will involve not only Congress and Federal Highway, but every state DOT, state legislatures, and the industry as well. I know you will have something to say about it as you have your meetings this week here in Washington. As you know, the President's new infrastructure package, it leverages an additional $200 billion in federal investment to generate more than $1 trillion in infrastructure improvements nationwide. This infusion of capital will help roads and bridges, large and small, from congested highways in big cities to less populated county roads and tribal lands. It specifically targets an investment of $50 billion to strengthen infrastructure in rural America. The plan will empower local decision-making, reduce the burden of federal red tape, and improve the permitting process. It calls for a lighter federal touch. You know as well as I do that some of our requirements, most required by law, add time and costs. As a side note, again, back at the DOT, I thought it was always Federal Highway that was just like making this stuff up, And it turns out it's Congress that, typically dictates the requirements, so something to work on. We think we can do better. From planning to budgets to design to environmental review to permitting to construction, several federal agencies make decisions, and even more at the state and local level. It's complex, it's time-consuming, and it adds costs. The President addresses this issue through his One Federal Decision executive order. 1 week ago, Secretary Chao joined President Trump and other cabinet officials in signing a memorandum of understanding, committing their departments to following the President's One Federal Decision framework for processing environmental reviews and permits for major infrastructure projects. The MOU sets out to provide more predictable, transparent, and timely review and authorization process for delivering major infrastructure projects. It establishes standard operating procedures for how the federal government will make concurrent and synchronized reviews, and it eliminates duplication of effort among agencies. It improves the efficiency of project delivery, It helps make better informed decisions and promotes good environmental, community, and economic outcomes. In order to accomplish all of these goals, the MOU establishes that one lead federal agency will be responsible for navigating each major infrastructure project through the entire federal environmental review and permitting process. In addition, federal agencies will follow permitting timetables established by the lead federal agency with the goal of completing the process within 2 years. Any interagency issues or disputes that arise during the process, they are required to be automatically elevated and resolved in a timely manner. In anticipation of the MOU, Federal Highway's Office of Planning, Environment, and Realty has worked with the Coast Guard, the Corps of Engineers, the EPA, Fish and Wildlife, and the National Marine Fisheries Services to develop a written agreement to coordinate our processes. We are active in an interagency work group to ensure a smooth implementation and alignment at all levels within each organization. I truly believe that this MOU and working agreement are game changers and will do a great deal to reduce costs and unnecessary burdens that have long delayed infrastructure projects. While strengthening infrastructure and coordinating efforts across the federal government, the administration's proposal and other reform efforts, such as the MOU, will create more opportunities for you and others in the transportation community. From planners to designers to suppliers and construction workers, it is going to keep us all very, very busy. It's an ambitious plan. It's a plan that America needs. The President's plan inspires us to dream big by building big. Another strategic goal that we are advancing at Federal Highway is preparing for the future through innovation. New technologies are emerging faster than ever. We know that driverless cars, automated traffic control systems, drones, they all have a place in our future. It is up to us to get our aging transportation system ready for the demands of tomorrow. Federal Highway is not sitting on the sidelines, but is promoting the use of new and innovative practices. Our portfolio of research initiatives and cooperative agreements has been infused with a technology focus. We have developed and deployed an app for emergency responders to use while assessing damage after disasters, making it much easier and faster for states to accurately assess damages so that they get those critical emergency relief funds very quickly so they can deploy on projects and get traffic moving again. We are promoting the use of 3D model-based information management systems to improve the use of alternative contracting methods for infrastructure projects. And on our own projects, we are looking at e-bidding for federal lands, which is already a regular practice in our federal aid projects. We know that this will help cut delivery times and costs. We recently published a request for information to obtain feedback from planners, DOTs, and industry on how Federal Highway can be best positioned to assist in the safe deployment of automated vehicles without stifling innovation. We are planning a series of national listening sessions on automated vehicle technologies later this year. The level of interest in automated driving systems is incredible, and given the promise of safety improvements, but also safety implications associated with them, it is absolutely critical to talk it through with the public, and especially with stakeholders like you, to make sure that we are covering all of the bases. Our Everyday Counts program, it continues to excite state transportation leaders. In January, we solicited ideas for the 5th round of EDC, and we are working right now to finalize that list. We're gearing up for a series of regional EDC summits this fall, and we look forward to your engagement on that as well. Earlier rounds of EDC have yielded impressive results. We have advanced work with automated traffic signal performance measures. This helps cities and states make better choices when it comes to traffic signal timing and the updates they need to keep pace with changing traffic patterns and traffic volumes. And this year, as we move into the era of performance-based planning with transportation performance management requirements coming online, we are using data-driven safety analysis tools. These help states analyze crash and roadway data to predict the safety impact of highway projects and makes it easier for them to reduce severe roadway crashes. State safety targets have now been established and are displayed on Federal Highway's website for the first time. Of course, advancing safety and reducing fatalities is Federal Highway's #1 priority. I need your help. Help me in the proliferation of Federal Highway's proven safety countermeasures. As professional engineers, you have a huge say in how projects get done and the safety components that get incorporated into them. I'm not supposed to pick favorites, but coming from Hamilton County, Indiana, I can't help but love roundabouts. There are more than 200 of them in Hamilton County, Indiana, and I know firsthand the reduction in serious injury crashes that are a result of the application of this safety treatment. As many of you know, last week was National Work Zone Awareness Week. Orange, not my best color, but wore it anyway. We spent the week working with our state DOT and industry partners to remind the public that highway work zones are dangerous. Every year, hundreds of people die in work zones, and that is entirely unacceptable. As more and more people return to their jobs on highway projects, we want to make sure that everybody gets home safely. Also, about 80% of the victims in a work zone are people inside their cars, driving too fast, not watching the road, texting while they drive. There are any number of reasons why people crash. Last year, more than 37,000 people died on U.S. roads. We are actively trying to bring that number down. These are not just statistics to me. Every number has a face, every face has a name, and every name has a story that matters. Thank you all for your efforts to help keep the traveling public safe. In fact, before I go, I want to thank you for everything that you do. From engineers to road builders to planners to environmental specialists, the work you all do is so important. It keeps the public safe and it strengthens America's road system, which is the backbone of the world's most powerful economy. Thanks also for letting me spend some time with you. Improving America's transportation system, it begins here with all of us in collaboration and partnership, and I am very much looking forward to doing great things with you. Thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of the conference. Sure, okay, yep. Happy to take a few questions. Oh, come on.
Over here.
Out of the 37,000 fatalities, how many of those are pedestrians or bicyclists?
Too many. I don't have the numbers offhand, but certainly there is a sharp increase in pedestrian and bicyclist fatalities as well. Some of our proven safety countermeasures that are treatments designed to assist in bringing that number down. So while I don't have the number offhand, I do know that those numbers are on the increase as well. Somebody here probably has that number off the top of their head.
Thank you. With regard to safety, one of the concerns I have about the move towards autonomous vehicles is the reluctance to accept that there will be fatalities, even though we may be able to drive them down by 80 or 90%.
Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah, wouldn't that be great?
90% reduction, that would be great.
But I'm concerned with the pedestrian fatality in Arizona that the public isn't going to be willing to accept anything but zero.
That's right. I mean, it is a concern, and we know that that's something that will have to be addressed. It'll take a while for people to get used to the idea and to be on board with supporting this new technology. But it exists today. There are a lot of efforts underway to test the technology, and you know, in a lot of the cars that some of you have now, there are lots of different features that are leading us right into this new era. But as the numbers come down and as people start realizing the safety benefits and as people get more used to it, I'm optimistic that we'll be able to realize the safety benefits associated with the new technology. It is up to us, though, to help educate, and some of the listening sessions and really some of the outreach efforts that all of us can participate in will be critical to bringing the public around.
Brandye, I have a question for you. If we got for you, instead of $200 billion, if we got you $550 or $700 billion, would you be able to make good use of those funds?
Would you? Yes, of course. There's a great need. There's no shortage of need there. I know that states across the country are struggling with crumbling infrastructure, roads and bridges, in big cities, dealing with mobility challenges. Oh my gosh, have you ever driven around Washington, D.C.? My commute, I just moved here from Indiana in July, and on a Monday, my commute could be 22 minutes. On a Wednesday, my commute could be an hour and 45 minutes. I live 13 miles from my office. So. But anyway, congestion, it remains a challenge. I feel like congestion robs so many Americans of the quality of life that they deserve, getting to those baseball games and getting home to cook dinner and spend time with their family. And then just, bridges in our rural parts of the country just need so much attention. And I know that there's a lot of effort going on in various states to raise revenue at the state level. So I believe that the need is there. So go for it. Thank you. Okay. Thank you so much.